My name is Elke Ibrahim, and I'm the one of the managers and the co-founders of this project and the curator of the Gillespie Heritage Museum.
My name is Isabelle Harris. I'm the other manager. I'm also the secretary as well as the gift shop buyer and operator.
I lived here for 37 years now, and busy with children and jobs and so on. But in 1998, I saw in the newspaper, Cape Breton Post, they were talking about demolishing the Gillespie town hall. And I drove down the hill and I said, oh my God, this is such a majestic building. How can they do this? And being from Europe, where we have buildings, 500 and some 800,000-year-old buildings, and this was only 100 years old, I said, how can they do that? And I said, my New Year's resolution is to help this building. And from that time onwards, early 1999, we started having meetings. And that's actually when I met Isabelle.
And I went to a meeting thinking it was a historical society meeting. And I thought the guest speaker was going to be Mr. Howard McKinnon, who taught me in school. And when I arrived at the Bayplex, it was to find all these people sitting around a table, and that's how it all began.
We started right in January, February, March, throughout the whole year we started having meetings. This building was blocked, locked, and you can't get in here. It was condemned actually, and so we had meetings all over the town, including the Bayplex and the townhouse, third floor in that senator's place. We had meetings all over the place.
And we did have a meeting here in early days. We came, you had to bring a lantern, and it was on the second floor. And we met in the old council chambers. Actually,
that was the very first meeting when we rallied the town of Gillespie, and we had the door open, and we had a meeting in the council chamber. The TV cameras came, everybody came, Cape Breton Post, and just to bring awareness to the town's people that this is a very valuable part of your heritage and history, and you have to see value in this and help us save it. And that place upstairs was full, All of a sudden, all these people, wow, they just needed somebody to wake them up a bit.
We've lost the old Bank of Montreal building. When they vacated that building and they built a new bank across the street, it was then turned into the library. And you hear a lot of conflicting stories about why it was torn down. And then there were some other lovely old homes, and the post office was revamped. And then when we lost all the coal company buildings, that was really sad.
I felt that there was the heart of this town was in this building. The town started with this building, and it grew, and it served the people of this town with all its offices for over 80 years. Actually, there are two different societies. The Gillespie Historical Society is a society keeping the history of this town alive, a meeting once a month here in the courtroom. And the Gillespie Heritage Museum Society was formed when they wanted to tear this building down. And we are the people who saved the building, who were restoring this building in phases, and who made it into a museum and are also responsible for all the exhibits.
And the positive thing is we often receive letters or emails from people who've been here and said, one of the more recent ones was, she said, I couldn't decide where to go. I thought I'd go to the Bell Museum, but I decided I'd go to the Miners Museum and come to your tour. And she said, we had a lovely time. And we bring local people in, so they get to meet another coal miner, they get to meet Rose and Roy McCormick, retired school teachers, whoever is part of the volunteer group. And we have the last jailer here, his son is a volunteer. So that's pretty special for us too.
I think it started when we had our opening. No, before the opening,
yeah, they came.
When there was still cardboard here, and the exhibits weren't, the floor was down, but the cardboard was to protect the floor, and the exhibits weren't in properly yet. And Jim Sinclair phoned and asked whether they could have a meeting here of the Iona Connection. And we set up the tables. It was always that we supply lunch, and we did. We had little card tables all over this room here, and so the groups came, and I think that's when it first started.
No, I think they were going for a while, but certainly that was their first visit here.
When we started,
yes,
being connected with them.
They don't seem to teach history in the schools anymore. I think that's a grave thing, because, and unless you have a family also who talk about things that happened before, do people tell stories anymore? Do we encourage our young people to come to museums? Do families take children to museums? We do our best, but and Howard McKinnon used to go, and he would give a course every few years and talk about the history of this town, which is absolutely amazing, but that doesn't occur anymore.
They teach education in the university, and there's a professor named Graham Reynolds. He brings his students once a year here. He says when his students finish their education degree, he wants them to know the history and heritage of the community where they are teaching. So he brings them to different museums while they are taking his degree, and they come once a year here. I think that's a great thing.
Yes, yeah. But it has to begin in the primary schools and carried on into high school.
The Historical Society has a membership. There are two, as I mentioned before, there are two societies. And not everybody who is interested in history and heritage is interested in nails and 2x4s and mortar to restore an old town hall, which is two different things, really. So we have for this old town hall, we have a board, and this is run by a board, and also volunteers as needed.